Imagine casting your net into the water, hoping for an ordinary catch, but pulling up something that doesn't belong to this world. A creature with scales like armor, eyes that seem to pierce through the ages, and an eerie presence that sends shivers down your spine. That's exactly what happened to one fisherman in a small coastal town. What he discovered left him, scientists, and eventually the whole world stunned. But this story is no ordinary fishing tale. What they uncovered might just change the way we see our oceans forever. Before we dive into this incredible story, don't forget to subscribe for more mysterious, real-life stories that will leave you captivated. It was a quiet morning on the waters off the coast of Maine, and seasoned fisherman Jack Taylor was out in his small boat, alone with the vast, blue sea. Jack had been fishing these waters for decades, and while he'd seen a few odd catches in his time, nothing could have prepared him for what was about to happen. As he hauled his net up from the cold, dark waters, he immediately felt something strange. The weight was off much heavier than the usual catch of fish. At first, he thought it might be a tangle of seaweed or perhaps an old piece of debris. But when he pulled the net up, Jack's heart skipped a beat. Lying in the net, tangled among some small fish, was a creature unlike anything he'd ever seen. The creature was massive, about 4 feet long, with an odd, armored body that looked more like a prehistoric relic than a fish. Its skin was covered in what seemed to be scales, but they were so thick they looked almost like plates of stone. Its eyes were large, black, and seemed to be staring right at him, as if assessing him, trying to figure out what he was. Jack shuddered, feeling an unsettling sensation that told him this wasn't just an ordinary catch. He quickly called out to the other boats nearby. Soon, a few of his fellow fishermen pulled up alongside him, their faces mirroring Jack's look of shock and disbelief. "Have you ever seen anything like this?" one of them muttered. Jack shook his head. He knew the ocean had its share of mysteries, but this creature didn't resemble anything from these waters or any waters he'd ever heard of. They decided to take the creature back to shore, carefully laying it out in a large water-filled container to keep it alive. Once they docked, word spread quickly around town. People crowded around, snapping pictures and whispering theories about what it could be. Some thought it was a mutated fish, a result of pollution in the ocean. Others claimed it was a species from the deep sea that rarely, if ever, came to the surface. Within hours, marine biologists from a nearby research center arrived to investigate. They carefully examined the creature, taking samples and studying its unusual anatomy. Every scientist who laid eyes on it wore the same expression of shock and curiosity. This creature seemed to defy everything they knew about marine biology. Dr. Elaine Carter, a marine biologist with over 20 years of experience, was one of the first to get a close look. She could hardly believe her eyes. The creature's structure was different from any known species that had gills, like most fish, but it also seemed to have small, primitive lungs, suggesting it could survive for short periods on land. Its scales were thicker than anything she'd seen before, almost like armor, protecting it from predators. After extensive analysis, Dr. Carter came to a startling conclusion. The DNA analysis showed markers resembling ancient fish species that had been extinct for millions of years, leading her to suspect that this creature could be a living fossil. The term living fossil is used for animals that have remained unchanged for millions of years and offer a direct link to prehistoric times. But how could something this large, this strange, have gone unnoticed for so long? As the days passed, theories swirled around the media. Some speculated that the creature had lived in deep, uncharted parts of the ocean, only recently driven to the surface by unknown forces, perhaps by a shift in underwater tectonic plates or a sudden rise in ocean temperatures. Others had even more bizarre theories, claiming that it could be an experiment gone wrong, or that it had somehow emerged from a long-sealed underwater cavern. But Dr. Carter, though intrigued, was skeptical of these ideas. She believed this creature was likely a relic from the past that had somehow adapted to survive in the depths. The more they studied it, the more the creature's mysteries deepened. It had organs that were unknown to marine science, and its diet appeared to include small deep-sea creatures rarely seen by humans. Even its movements were peculiar. It seemed to undulate in a way that was unlike any fish, almost as if it were both gliding and crawling. However, one evening, something unexpected happened. Just as Dr. Carter and her team were preparing to run another round of tests, the creature started thrashing wildly in its tank. It was as if it sensed something, as if it knew it was being examined. It pushed against the tank's walls with such force that cracks began forming. In a matter of minutes, the cracks widened, and with a loud crash, the tank shattered, spilling water everywhere and freeing the creature. The scientists rushed to contain it, but the creature seemed to have only one goal: to reach the ocean. With surprising speed, it slithered and flopped its way toward the shore, its powerful body propelling it forward. Dr. Carter and her team watched in awe, unable to do anything but follow as it reached the edge of the water, paused briefly as if saying goodbye, and disappeared back into the depths. To this day, no one knows exactly what the creature was. Some believe it was a survivor from an era long before humans, a glimpse into a time when the oceans were ruled by creatures that could defy imagination. Others think it was something even stranger, an emissary from the ocean's depths, here for a reason we may never understand. Jack returned to his fishing, but he was never quite the same. Every time he cast his net, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching from below, something ancient and unknowable, hiding in the depths of the ocean, waiting for the right moment to rise again. Stories like these remind us of the vast mysteries still hidden in our world, especially in the deep ocean. If you want to hear more stories that reveal the unexpected, hit that subscribe button and join us as we uncover the unknown.